If you Googled what is the most powerful currency in the world, you would get the Kuwaiti dinar. Yes, this is true, as it is the highest valued currency in the world, currently being traded at over twice that of the pound sterling and over 3 times the US dollar. But that doesn't make it the most powerful currency. That title is in fact reserved for the US dollar, of course. I'm the individual investor. Thanks for joining me today, and let's get into it. The US dollar is only one of 185 currencies, and yet 60% of all government reserves around the world are held in US dollars. This makes it the de facto global currency. To fully understand this, we're going to need to talk about war and gold. Leading up to World War I, most developed economies used the gold standard. This means that the currency was backed by gold and that you could actually redeem gold for your money. When World War I came along, many countries de-linked their currency from gold, turning to paper money to pay for their military efforts, which heavily devalued their currencies. Then during World War II, the US sold weapons and supplies to many allied nations, receiving gold as payment, and by the end of it, they would amass a whopping 70% of all gold reserves. That's actually over 1.5 million school buses by weight. This spurred a meeting between 44 allied nations where they decided that their currencies would be pegged to the US dollar, that was in turn backed by gold, known as the Bretton Woods Agreement. So now that the US dollar was backed by gold, it was considered a safe store of value, and many governments held their reserves in US dollars and US Treasury securities. To keep up with this growing demand in the US dollar, they would have to keep printing and issuing paper currency. And it got to the point where other nations had concerns in the stability of the US dollar. And so what happened was that many other governments thought, okay, since our reserves in US dollars are backed by gold, we would rather hold on to gold because we're not so sure how stable their currency is anymore, since they just keep printing it, but their stack of gold wasn't getting any bigger. And this was around the time of the Vietnam War, which only created more doubt in the value and stability of the US dollar. And so upon request, the US government started handing out gold in exchange for their own currency. But as one nation did this, so did another and another, until the US president at the time, Richard Nixon, was forced to cut the last tie of the gold standard and de-link the US dollar from gold, leading to the floating foreign exchange we have today, which is that each currency is backed by their own economy. So now, what does that translate into today? Well, it is estimated that over $1.9 trillion is in circulation, with over half of that thought to be outside the US, where it is used in day-to-day transactions. An example of this would be, let's say, a cotton manufacturer from Egypt would like to sell its products in a Swedish retailer. They would likely not agree on their respective currencies, being the Egyptian pound or the Swedish krona, as they couldn't use it in one another's countries and may not even know what it's worth. And thus they are much more likely to transact in US dollars. Now we know that each currency would be backed by their economies. It's no surprise that the most powerful currency would be backed by the largest one. Currently with a GDP of over $21 trillion, that equates to almost a quarter of the world's economy. Now, even with trillions in foreign debt, large deficit spending, and continuous printing of the US dollar, the US remains in high regard that they are able to pay off their obligations. This gives confidence to the rest of the world to continue using the US dollar as the global currency. And it could remain this way for many years to come. What do you think? Will the US dollar remain on top? Let me know in the comments below. For today's fun fact, how would you like to be a billionaire? During early 2000s, Zimbabwe experienced hyperinflation. This peaked in 2008, where $1 would trade for 2.6 billion Zimbabwe dollars. Too bad a loaf of bread would cost 10.4 billion. Anyway, Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.